Every 40 seconds, someone has a stroke. And for people over 60, the risk is not just higher, it's life-changing. Imagine suddenly losing your ability to walk, speak, or even recognize your loved ones, all because of something that could have been prevented. What if I told you there are 9 simple daily habits that could literally save your brain from a stroke? Stroke prevention tips for over 60. These 9 simple habits could save your brain from stroke if you're over 60. Your brain health should be a top priority, and stroke prevention starts with your daily habits. In this video, we reveal 9 simple yet powerful routines that can help protect your brain, improve blood flow, and lower your risk of stroke dramatically. From the way you eat and move, to small lifestyle tweaks you can start today. These tips are backed by science and easy to follow. Don't wait for warning signs. Start protecting your brain now and keep it sharp for years to come. And for seniors, recovery is often long, painful, and sometimes incomplete. Think about it, maybe you've seen someone you love go from being independent to needing constant care overnight. The frustration of not being able to button a shirt, hold a spoon, or even remember names, it's devastating. And yet, most of us ignore the small, daily choices that quietly increase our risk. High blood pressure, poor diet, lack of movement, dehydration. These aren't just random issues, they are ticking time bombs for your brain. But here's the good news. Research shows that up to 80% of strokes can actually be prevented. Yes, you heard that right, most strokes aren't fate, they're choices. And today, I am going to show you how 9 simple habits can protect your brain and your independence. Stroke prevention isn't about complicated medical treatments or expensive supplements. It's about simple daily habits, things you can start today that keep your blood flowing, your heart strong, and your brain sharp. So let's dive into these 9 life-saving habits. Pay close attention, because even if you adopt just a few of these, you can slash your risk of stroke dramatically. Control your blood pressure. High blood pressure is the #1 cause of strokes. It quietly damages your arteries until one day, blood flow to your brain gets blocked or bursts. Stay with me. I will tell you how to have normal blood pressure for the rest of your life. I'm a functional medicine provider specializing in cardiovascular health and longevity. So if this topic of blood pressure interests you, please subscribe. And if you have questions about blood pressure or other topics related to heart health and longevity, put them in the comments below, because there is a good chance that I will make a future video on your question. So let's dive right in. If you are controlling your blood pressure, leave a comment below and let everyone know that you are doing something right. But if you struggle with high blood pressure, take note, because I think that there is a good chance that you can actually reverse your high blood pressure. There are 2 main causes of hypertension or high blood pressure. One cause is related to kidney function. The second cause is coming from your diet. This video is going to focus on the diet-induced hypertension, and I promise to make a video about the kidney aspect of high blood pressure in the future. You may be surprised that the food that I am going to talk about today is not some special food that you have to go out and buy. It's not a supplement. It's a common food found throughout the world. You may even grow it in your garden. It is an inexpensive yes, I said superfood, and it is celery. Celery has been shown in multiple studies to lower both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. In fact, there was one study done where they took young, healthy men, had them fast for 3 days, and then fed them mostly celery, and they saw that the celery lowered the men's blood pressure. Not only did the blood pressure drop while they were consuming celery, but it continued to drop for weeks after they stopped eating the celery. That is how powerful celery can be. How does celery do this? Celery contains a group of chemicals called phthalates. These phthalates help to relax the smooth muscle in your artery walls. Phthalates are also found in other foods such as onions, parsley, carrots, and basil. However, celery has the highest concentration of these beneficial chemicals. Another great thing about celery is that it has a lot of potassium and not a lot of sodium. This ratio of potassium to sodium is very important. And basically, for every 1000 milligrams of potassium that you consume, you get rid of 23 milligrams of sodium. Sodium tends to raise your blood pressure by increasing the amount of fluid in your blood vessels. More fluid means more pressure. Potassium, on the other hand, counteracts the negative effects of sodium. Not only that, but potassium also relaxes the muscles in your arteries, which lowers your blood pressure. The problem with most people's diets is that they have way too much sodium and not enough potassium. I've made several videos about reducing sodium intake, so check those out if you need to learn how to reduce salt in your diet. But when it comes to increasing potassium in your diet, just start eating more celery. There are a few things that you should know about incorporating celery into your diet. First, if you don't like the taste of raw celery, try cooking it. You can steam it, roast it, or you may find that cooking the celery actually improves its flavor. Also, if you are buying celery, look for stalks that are firm and crisp with tightly closed leaves. Avoid celery with wilted leaves or soft spots, because that celery is probably old and will not taste as good. When you get home, store the celery in the refrigerator wrapped in a plastic bag or in the crisper drawer. Celery will stay fresh for about 2 weeks if you store it properly. One question that people ask is if they should eat the leaves or throw them away. I recommend that you eat the leaves. They are perfectly safe to eat. You can add them to smoothies or salads. They do have a bitter taste, but they will add extra potassium to your diet. Plus, they contain a lot of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. The only time that you shouldn't eat the leaves is if they are wilted or slimy. Don't waste them, just compost them. Let's talk about how much celery that you should eat per day. A good rule of thumb is to have at least 1 bunch of celery a day. A bunch is usually between 8 to 12 stalks. This should give you around 4 to 6 cups of celery. And for most adults, this amount of celery will provide around 1,000 milligrams of potassium and only around 250 milligrams of sodium. This ratio of potassium to sodium is ideal for lowering your blood pressure. Now, I must point out that the stalk of the celery has more potassium than the leaves. But again, you should only compost any bad leaves. Eat the rest of them. There is no need to sort through the celery and pick out the stalks and the leaves. Just eat the whole thing. Wash it first, of course. For many people, eating an entire bunch of celery every single day is not realistic. So if that is you, try to have half a bunch, or even a quarter of a bunch. Any amount of celery is better than none at all. Remember, it takes about 2 weeks for the full benefits of the celery to kick in. So don't get discouraged if you don't see immediate results. Here's another tip. Try pairing the celery with some of the other foods that contain phthalates. For example, you could make a smoothie with bananas, parsley, onion, basil, and celery. Or you could make a salad with onion, basil, carrots, and celery. These combinations of foods will have a synergistic effect and will be more powerful than just eating celery alone. Now, remember that diet is only one cause of hypertension. If your blood pressure is still high after you've added celery to your diet, you may have a kidney issue. In that case, I recommend seeing a specialist called a nephrologist. Here's the good news. Simply checking your blood pressure at home 2 to 3 times a week can help you catch problems early. Aim for under 120/80ths if possible, and work with your doctor if it's higher. Even a small reduction, say, lowering your top number by 10 points can cut your risk of stroke by almost half. Practical tip: reduce salt, move more, and practice slow breathing exercises. Something as simple as walking 20 minutes after dinner can work wonders. Brain-protecting foods every day. Your plate is your medicine cabinet. Foods rich in potassium, fiber, and antioxidants help keep arteries clear. Think bananas, leafy greens, salmon, nuts, beans, and berries. The brain is a complex organ that is responsible for controlling everything that we do. It's also one of the most delicate organs in the body, and it requires a lot of care and attention in order to stay healthy. As we age, our brains begin to shrink, and this can cause a variety of problems such as memory loss, difficulty concentrating, and even changes in our personality. But there are certain things that we can do in order to protect our brains from aging too quickly. One of the most important things that we can do is to eat brain-protecting foods every day. In this video, we will be discussing 12 best foods that protect your brain from aging. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 1. Salmon. Salmon is a fatty fish that is high in omega-3 fatty acids. These healthy fats are essential for brain health, and they can help to improve memory, focus, and concentration. Additionally, salmon is a good source of protein and vitamin D, both of which are important for overall brain function. To get the most out of this superfood, it's best to eat it grilled or baked rather than fried. And if you're not a fan of fish, there are plenty of other foods that contain omega-3 such as walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds. Number 2. Broccoli. Broccoli is a cruciferous vegetable that is packed with antioxidants and phytonutrients. These compounds can help to protect the brain from damage caused by free radicals and inflammation. Additionally, broccoli is a good source of vitamins C and K, which are important for brain health. It's best to eat broccoli steamed or roasted in order to preserve its nutrients. And if you're not a fan of broccoli, other cruciferous vegetables, such as cauliflower, kale and cabbage, are also packed with brain-protecting nutrients. No. 3. Blueberries. Blueberries are small but mighty fruits that are packed with antioxidants. These little fruits are high in flavonoids, which are a type of antioxidant that has been shown to improve brain function and protect against cognitive decline. Additionally, blueberries are a good source of vitamin C and fiber. To get the most out of this superfood, it's best to eat it fresh or frozen rather than dried. And if you're not a fan of blueberries, other fruits that are high in flavonoids, such as blackberries, raspberries, and strawberries, are also great for brain health. No. 4. Turmeric. Turmeric is a golden-colored spice that is commonly used in Indian cuisine. It's a member of the ginger family and has been used for centuries for its medicinal properties. The active ingredient in turmeric is curcumin, which has been shown to have anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. This means that turmeric can help protect the brain from damage caused by free radicals and inflammation. Additionally, curcumin has been shown to improve memory and cognitive function. To get the most out of this superfood, it's best to eat it in dishes where the ingredients are cooked in turmeric. And if you don't like the taste of turmeric, you can also find it in supplement form. No. 5. Dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is a delicious treat that can actually be good for the brain. It's important to note that not all chocolate is created equal, and that you should avoid milk chocolate and white chocolate as they do not contain the same beneficial compounds. Dark chocolate is rich in flavonoids, which are antioxidants that can help improve blood flow to the brain and protect against cognitive decline. Additionally, dark chocolate is a good source of magnesium and copper, both of which are important for brain function. To get the most out of this superfood, it's best to eat it in moderation as it is high in calories and fat. Look for dark chocolate with at least 70% cocoa solids for the most flavonoids. No. 6. Eggs. Eggs are a versatile superfood that can be prepared in a variety of ways. They're a good source of protein and healthy fats, both of which are important for brain health. Additionally, eggs are a good source of choline, which is a nutrient that is important for memory and brain development. To get the most out of this superfood, it's best to eat them cooked rather than raw. And if you're worried about cholesterol, there is no need to worry, as eggs are a good source of cholesterol, which is important for overall health. No. 7. Spinach. Spinach is a leafy green vegetable that is packed with nutrients. It's a good source of vitamins A, C, K, and folate, all of which are important for brain health. Additionally, spinach is a good source of iron, which is important for oxygen transport in the body. To get the most out of this superfood, it's best to eat it raw or lightly cooked. And if you're not a fan of spinach, other leafy greens, such as kale and collard greens, are also packed with brain-protecting nutrients. No. 8. Pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are a tasty snack that is high in magnesium. This mineral is important for brain health and has been shown to improve memory and cognitive function. Additionally, pumpkin seeds are a good source of zinc and vitamin E, both of which are important for overall brain function. To get the most out of this superfood, it's best to eat it raw or lightly roasted. And if you don't like pumpkin seeds, other nuts and seeds such as sunflower seeds and almonds are also high in magnesium. No. 9. Green tea. Green tea is a popular beverage that is enjoyed by people all over the world. It's a good source of polyphenols, which are antioxidants that can help protect the brain from damage caused by free radicals. Additionally, green tea has been shown to improve cognitive function and reduce the risk of cognitive decline. To get the most out of this superfood, it's best to drink it in moderation, as too much green tea can cause anxiety and insomnia. And if you don't like green tea, other teas that are high in polyphenols, such as black tea and white tea, are also great for brain health. No. 10. Avocado. Avocado is a creamy fruit that is high in monosaturated fats. These healthy fats are important for brain health and can help improve cognitive function and memory. Additionally, avocado is a good source of vitamin E and potassium, both of which are important for overall brain function. To get the most out of this superfood, it's best to eat it fresh and in moderation, as it is high in calories. And if you don't like avocado, other fruits that are high in monounsaturated fats, such as olive oil and almonds, are also great for brain health. No. 11. Coffee. Coffee is a popular beverage that is enjoyed by millions of people around the world. It's important to note that not all coffee is created equal and that you should avoid caffeinated coffee as it can cause anxiety and insomnia. However, decaffeinated coffee has been shown to have a variety of health benefits, including improved cognitive function and reduced risk of cognitive decline. Additionally, coffee is a good source of antioxidants, which can help protect the brain from damage caused by free radicals. To get the most out of this superfood, it's best to drink it in moderation and avoid adding too much sugar or cream. And last but not least, No. 12. Cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is a spicy pepper that is high in capsaicin. This compound has been shown to have neuroprotective effects and can help improve blood flow to the brain. Additionally, cayenne pepper is a good source of vitamin C and antioxidants, which can help protect the brain from damage caused by free radicals. To get the most out of this superfood, it's best to add it to food while cooking rather than eating it raw. And if you don't like cayenne pepper, other spices that are high in capsaicin, such as black pepper and ginger, are also great for brain health. In conclusion, there are many foods that can help protect the brain from aging. By incorporating these foods into your diet, you can help keep your brain healthy and improve your overall quality of life as you age. It's important to note that everyone's dietary needs are different, and that you should consult with a healthcare professional or registered dietitian before making any major changes to your diet. With that said, there is no one-size-fits-all approach to nutrition, and you should experiment with different foods and find what works best for you. In fact, the famous Mediterranean diet, rich in olive oil, fish, vegetables, and whole grains, has been shown to lower stroke risk by up to 30%. But here's a quick swap you can try today. Instead of butter on your bread, drizzle a little olive oil. Instead of sugary snacks, go for a handful of walnuts or almonds. These small changes add up to big protection for your brain. It's just standing up. Too much sitting slows blood circulation and stiffens your arteries. And for seniors, it's easy to spend long hours in front of the TV or reading. I want to share with you something that might sound very simple, but it is actually not easy to do. And if you can do it, it will help you in two ways. One is to prevent injury. The second one is to feel much better at the end of the day. So what is it? It is to move every hour. Even if you can't do a full exercise routine, even if you don't have time for that, then just stand up from your seat every single hour. This will do wonders for your body, and it will be life-changing in the long term. Let me explain why this is so important. What happens when we sit all day long without moving? Well, first of all, our muscles start to get stiff because they're not being used. Muscles that are not used will shorten. They'll become tight and restricted. At the same time, the joints that aren't being moved will start to seize up because joints also need movement. Otherwise, they will get stiff. Have you ever noticed, for example, that after a long flight, when you haven't been able to move around much and you've been sitting in that plane seat for many hours, how stiff your body feels when you get off the plane? You can hardly turn your head. Your back is seized up. All of this happens to us all the time when we sit too long in one position without moving. And the longer we continue like this, the worse it gets. In fact, studies have found that prolonged static postures, like sitting for a long time in one position, actually causes microscopic tears in the discs of your spine. Sitting in the same position for a long period of time makes the discs bulge out. Also, when you sit down for a long period of time, the pressure in your lower back actually increases. So instead of relieving pressure on the discs in your spine, which is what you think you're doing when you're sitting down, actually you're compressing them. Studies have shown that people who spend most of their day sitting down have higher levels of lower back pain and are more likely to have a disc bulge or a slipped disc than those who are more active. When we were kids, we were told to sit still in school. But since then, lots of research has come out showing that sitting still for long periods of time isn't good for us. In fact, it's very bad for us. Unfortunately, now most of us work in offices. We sit behind a desk all day long, sometimes 8 to 10 hours a day. Many of us also commute in a car or on public transport, where we re-seated for a long time. And then when we get home, we just flop down on the couch and maybe watch TV or go on our phone. There are some people who literally sit down for 12 to 14 hours a day or more. That is far too long to spend in any one position. Our bodies simply weren't designed to sit down that much. If we look at our hunter-gatherer ancestors, They were constantly moving from place to place. They were walking many miles every single day and only stopped when they had to sleep. Back then, people didn't sit down for 8 hours a day behind a computer or in a car. They didn't have an office job. They were constantly on the move. Because of this, our bodies evolved to be really good at moving and being active. Sitting for a long period of time was never part of the plan. And although these days some of us may not walk as far as our ancestors did, we should still be moving every hour, because if we don't, our bodies will suffer. The great news is that we don't have to do a full-blown exercise routine every single hour, even if you don't have time for that. Although of course exercising is fantastic. But if you're in a rush and you only have a minute, then just stand up for that minute. That's better than nothing. Maybe you could stretch your arms above your head, do a little bit of neck stretching, shoulder rolls. All of these things are better than nothing. What's really important is that we keep moving. The other thing that's very important is to make sure that you alternate the positions that you sit in. For example, if you're going to sit in one position for an extended period of time, maybe sitting in a chair like this, make sure you change to another position. Maybe cross your legs, or if you're driving, then change from sitting with your legs down to sitting with your legs up. Just don't stay in one position for too long. You know, one thing that we often hear is that sitting like this, for example, with your legs crossed, is bad for you. However, I would say that sitting in any one position for a long period of time is bad for you. It's not so much about the position itself, but rather staying in that position for too long. So if you're going to sit with your legs crossed for a while, then just make sure you switch to another position before too long. Also, when you're sitting in a chair, it's very important to make sure that you're re-sitting upright in that chair and not slumped over. Many of us, unfortunately, are spending way too much time during the day slumped over either in a chair or on the couch. This puts extra pressure on our discs. It can cause problems with our posture and also make our muscles tight. So when you sit down, just make sure that you sit right up straight on the top of your hamstrings. Don't slump forward. Of course, it's okay to relax and slump occasionally, but don't make it a habit. Another tip is to consider whether you need to be sitting down all the time. Is there a way that you could stand up while you're doing something? For example, many people choose to stand up while they're brushing their teeth. Others choose to stand up while they're talking on the phone or watching TV. Standing up while you're brushing your teeth doesn't add that much extra time to the task, but it does add a bit of extra movement into your day. One big advantage to standing is that it burns a few extra calories. It helps to improve blood sugar control and helps you to build some muscle in your legs. When you're sitting down, it's harder to build muscle in your legs. That is why many people who spend a lot of time sitting down find that they lose muscle in their legs, especially when they get older. One other thing that you can do if you're going to be sitting in one position for a long period of time is to use a cushion to sit on. You could put a rolled up towel or yoga block underneath your hips to tilt your pelvis slightly forward. This opens up the hip flexors, which are the muscles at the front of your thighs, and strengthens the abdominal muscles. The hip flexors are very important because they allow you to bend your knee and lift your foot up, like when you're retaking a step. These muscles are constantly being used throughout the day, especially when we're sitting down. So by opening up the hip flexors, you're helping to stretch and lengthen these muscles. Many people find that they feel much better in their lower back and hips when they sit on a block or a folded blanket or a rolled up towel. If you work at a desk, you could put a standing desk converter on top of your existing desk so you can alternate between sitting and standing while you work. Another option is to get a treadmill desk so you could walk at a slow pace while you work, or you could just pace around your house or office. If you're on a phone call, you could walk around the room, up and down the stairs. Just keep moving. It's also worth checking out ergonomic office chairs that promote movement. For example, there are some chairs that gently rock from side to side, or there are others that spin in circles really slowly. These types of chairs encourage micro-movements, tiny movements that you don't notice, which can help to relieve pressure from your discs. Finally, if you're going to be traveling for a long period of time, whether by car, train or plane, make sure you get up at least once an hour to stretch your legs. If you're in a plane, try to get up when the seatbelt sign isn't on. Walking around the plane aisle is usually fine as long as you're not disturbing the flight attendants. Stretching your legs in the aisle is also fine, but obviously be careful not to trip over other people. Walking up and down the plane stairs is also a great way to stretch your legs. Remember, after a long flight, your body will probably feel very stiff if you haven't moved around much. So if you're flying long haul, make sure to get up at least once an hour to move around. Okay, so there you have it. My tips on how to avoid injury and feel great by making sure you move every hour. Remember, if you can't do a full exercise routine, then just stand up for a minute or two, stretch your arms above your head, do a little bit of neck stretching, shoulder rolls. Whatever you can do to move your body will be beneficial. Here's the trick. Don't think of exercise as just going to the gym. Think of it as movement snacks. Stand up every hour. March in place while waiting for the kettle to boil. Take the stairs instead of the elevator if you can. Studies show that just 30 minutes of brisk walking most days can reduce stroke risk by nearly 27%. Habit 4. That's a quarter. Stay hydrated. Water is brain fuel. Did you know even mild dehydration makes your blood thicker, increasing clot risk? Seniors often don't feel thirsty until it's too late. The gurus are telling us to drink 8 glasses of water a day, or carry a water bottle around with us everywhere we go. But why should we listen to them? What's so important about drinking enough water? The benefits of drinking enough water are far-reaching and affect nearly every system in the body, including your brain. In today's video, we will discuss some of the ways that proper hydration can improve the function of your brain. Let's get into it. 1. Stay hydrated. It seems obvious, but a lot of us don't drink enough water throughout the day. Water makes up more than 70% of our bodies, and our brains are roughly 80% water. Even mild dehydration can cause noticeable effects on our brains, affecting our mood, ability to concentrate, and even causing headaches. When you're dehydrated, your brain receives an insufficient amount of fluids to function properly. This can lead to a number of cognitive deficits, making it difficult for you to think clearly and put your best foot forward in daily tasks. Drinking enough water ensures that your brain has the fluids it needs to operate at peak efficiency. One way that staying hydrated can improve brain function is by increasing blood flow. Blood carries oxygen and nutrients to the brain, and when you're dehydrated, reduced blood volume can mean less oxygen and fewer nutrients for the brain. When you drink water, your body rehydrates, and the increased blood flow carries more oxygen and nutrients to the brain, improving its function. In addition, water helps to regulate your body temperature. When you're dehydrated, your body may overheat, which can negatively impact brain function. Water helps to cool the body through sweating, which can help maintain a healthy brain temperature. It's important to note that while everyone's body is mostly water, we all have different hydration needs. Factors like age, sex, activity level, and climate can all affect how much water you need to drink each day. However, most experts agree that drinking around 2 liters of water per day is a good general rule to follow. Of course, it's important to listen to your body and drink more if you're thirsty, or if you're re-engaging in strenuous activity. Some people may also benefit from setting reminders or using apps to help them track their water intake throughout the day. If you're looking for an easy way to stay hydrated, consider carrying a reusable water bottle with you wherever you go. Not only will this help you keep track of your intake, but it will also save you money and reduce waste by not using disposable plastic bottles. It's important to stay hydrated for many reasons, but keeping your brain functioning at its best should be one of them. By drinking enough water, you can improve concentration, memory, and overall cognitive performance. So grab a glass of water right now and give your brain the hydration it needs. 2. Water flushes toxins from the body. Our bodies are constantly bombarded with toxins from the environment. From the air we breathe, to the water we drink, to the food we eat. Toxins can also come from within our own bodies as a natural byproduct of the way we metabolize food and other substances. As these toxins accumulate in our bodies, they can negatively impact our health, including our brain health. One way that toxins can affect the brain is by disrupting the delicate balance of neurotransmitters, the chemicals that allow neurons to communicate with each other. This disruption can lead to a number of cognitive deficits, including problems with memory, attention, and decision-making. Toxins can also damage neurons directly, leading to cell death. This can occur through a variety of mechanisms, but often involves the overproduction of reactive oxygen species, which are highly reactive molecules that can damage cells. Neuronal damage caused by toxins has been implicated in a number of neurodegenerative diseases, including Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. Another way that toxins can affect the brain is by interfering with blood flow. As mentioned earlier, Blood carries oxygen and nutrients to the brain, and when toxins interfere with blood flow, the brain can become starved of these essential supplies. This can lead to a variety of cognitive deficits, including difficulty concentrating and fatigue. Fortunately, there are a number of things we can do to protect our brains from toxins. One of the most important is to stay hydrated. When we're well hydrated, our bodies are better able to flush toxins out through our urine. In addition, staying hydrated helps improve blood flow, which means that our brains receive the oxygen and nutrients they need to function properly. In addition to drinking enough water, we can also protect our brains from toxins by eating a healthy diet. A diet rich in antioxidants can help neutralize harmful free radicals and protect neurons from damage. We can also reduce our exposure to toxins in the environment by using natural cleaning products and personal care products, and by avoiding pesticides and herbicides in our food. By taking these steps, we can help keep our brains healthy and functioning at their best. No. 3. Water helps to deliver oxygen to the brain. Our brains need a constant supply of oxygen to function properly. When we inhale oxygen from the air we breathe, enters our lungs and diffuses into the bloodstream. From there, it's carried by our blood to all parts of our body, including our brain. Once the oxygen reaches the brain, it's used by neurons to produce energy. This process is essential for all brain functions, from basic metabolism to higher-level thinking and decision-making. When we're dehydrated, however, our blood volume decreases, which means that less oxygen is delivered to the brain. This can lead to a number of problems, including difficulty concentrating, fatigue, and headaches. That's where water comes in. By staying hydrated, we ensure that our blood volume remains high, which means that more oxygen is delivered to the brain. This allows our brains to function at their best and can help us stay alert and focused throughout the day. So be sure to drink plenty of water, especially before and after physical activity. You can also infuse your water with natural flavors like lemon or cucumber to make it more enjoyable. Or if you find plain water boring, try sparkling water instead. Just be sure to avoid sugary drinks, as these can actually contribute to dehydration. Staying hydrated is essential for optimal brain function. When we're dehydrated, our brains don't get the oxygen they need to function properly. This can lead to a number of cognitive deficits, including difficulty concentrating, fatigue, and headaches. But by staying hydrated, we can ensure that our brains get the oxygen they need to stay alert and focused. Number 4. Water improves sleep quality. Getting a good night's sleep is essential for restoring our bodies and minds after a long day. It's during sleep that our brains process and store memories, repair damage from UV exposure, and restore energy levels. But millions of Americans suffer from sleep disorders that prevent them from getting the restful sleep they need. And one of the most common causes of these sleep disorders is dehydration. When we're dehydrated, our bodies produce less saliva, which can lead to dry mouth and difficulty swallowing. This can make it difficult to fall asleep and stay asleep through the night. Additionally, dehydration can cause frequent urination, which can disrupt sleep patterns and leave us feeling fatigued during the day. Improving sleep quality is essential for maintaining optimal brain function. When we don't get enough sleep, we're more likely to experience cognitive deficits, such as difficulty concentrating, impaired memory, and poor decision-making. Fortunately, there are simple steps we can take to improve our sleep quality, and staying hydrated is one of them. By drinking enough water throughout the day, we can prevent dehydration and ensure that we're able to fall asleep and stay asleep through the night. Before bed, it's also important to avoid consuming caffeine or alcohol, both of which can interfere with sleep. Instead, try drinking a cup of herbal tea to relax the body and mind. Getting a good night's sleep is essential for restoring our bodies and minds after a long day. When we don't get enough sleep, we're more likely to experience cognitive deficits, such as difficulty concentrating, impaired memory, and poor decision-making. Fortunately, improving our sleep quality is easy, and staying hydrated is one of the most important things we can do. If you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments below what you will start doing differently. Aim for 6 to 8 glasses of water daily, unless your doctor advises otherwise. If plain water feels boring, try herbal teas or add a slice of lemon or cucumber. Here's a simple reminder trick. Drink 1 glass of water every time you brush your teeth, 1 with each meal, and 1 before bed. Habit 5. Your brain will manage stress before it manages you. Chronic stress isn't just uncomfortable, it raises blood pressure, stiffens arteries, and fuels inflammation. Habit 5. Manage stress before it manages you. We all get stressed out. Life gets hard, problems come up. But there is a big difference between the people who let life push them around and the people who make things happen. The key is in how we manage our stress. Think about this for a minute. You're at a party, right? And you're having a great time. You're laughing, you're having fun, and then all of a sudden your phone goes off. You check it. It's an email from work. Now what do? Do you continue to enjoy the party, or do you step out to take the call or check the email? This is a small example of how we let little things push us around. When we let work stress manage us, we start checking emails and taking urgent calls during important moments in our personal lives. We allow work stress to dictate when we sleep, when we wake up, what we eat, what we wear, how we spend our time. When we are managed by our stress, we become reactive instead of proactive. We stop making things happen and we just let things happen to us. Now, here's the thing. It's not the stress that's bad. It's what we do with the stress. There's a huge difference between the person who gets angry, yells at their spouse, drinks too much coffee, and the person who takes a deep breath, stays calm and finds a healthy way to deal with the situation. In other words, some people let stress manage them, while others manage their stress. Here is a simple but powerful way to make sure you are managing your stress and not the other way around. It comes from the world of sports. You see, when a basketball player practices, they don't just practice the easy shots. They practice the difficult shots as well. They want to be prepared for every type of situation, and they know that if they only practice the easy stuff, they will choke when it really counts. So the next time you feel stressed, ask yourself, will this matter in 1 week? If the answer is no, then let it go. Don't let it bother you. Will this matter in 1 year? If the answer is no, then don't stress over it. Put things into perspective. Is this really that bad? Or am I just making it worse in my mind? There is a story about a young man who was sweeping the floor in a subway station in New York City. He was doing his best, but the job was never ending. Every time he swept an area, there was always more dirt and more garbage to pick up. He was getting tired and frustrated. Then one day he had enough. He stopped in the middle of the floor and looked around. That's when he noticed something incredible. All the people rushing by, all these businessmen and women, they were all focused on their destination. They weren't paying any attention to him or the dirty floor. And that's when it hit him. Why was he stressing so much about something that nobody even noticed? His job didn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but his attitude did. So the next time you're feeling stressed, ask yourself, does this really matter? And if the answer is yes, then figure out a healthy and proactive way to deal with it. Take a moment to pause, to breathe, to think clearly, and to choose your response. Because remember, some people let stress manage them, but others manage their stress. Which one will you be? Deep breathing, prayer, meditation, gentle yoga, or even 5 minutes of sitting quietly in the garden can calm your nervous system. One senior I worked with started a gratitude journal, writing down 3 things she was thankful for every night. Within weeks, her blood pressure dropped, and she felt lighter. Small emotional habits protect your brain. Prioritize sleep. Your brain's nightly reset. Poor sleep makes your arteries stiff and your blood pressure spike. Seniors who sleep less than 6 hours are at much higher risk of stroke. During sleep, your brain processes everything that has happened throughout the day. It transfers short-term memories into long-term storage and gets rid of unnecessary information. Sleep also helps us process emotions and regulate our mood. The quality of our sleep directly affects how we feel the next day. If we don't get enough sleep, or if we don't sleep very well, we might feel grumpy, irritable, and unable to focus. One of the most important things for our brain is to have a good night's sleep, because during sleep our brain processes everything that has happened throughout the day, and it transfers the short-term memories into long-term storage, and gets rid of unnecessary information. So when we wake up in the morning, our brain is refreshed and ready to start a new day. So in order to have a healthy and productive life, we must prioritize sleep. According to experts, most adults need 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. However, some people may need more or less sleep than others. For example, teenagers typically need 8 to 10 hours of sleep per night, while older adults may only need 7 to 8 hours. Some people may also need more or less sleep than usual due to certain medical conditions or medications they are taking. There are 2 types of sleep, REM and non-REM. During non-REM sleep, the body goes through several stages from light sleep to deep sleep. In REM sleep, the brain is highly active and most of the dreaming occurs. Both types of sleep are important and we cycle through them several times during the night. Unfortunately, many people do not get the recommended amount of sleep. According to the CDC, almost 35% of adults report sleeping less than the recommended 7 hours per night. This can lead to serious health problems such as obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. So how can we improve our sleep? There are several things that we can do to improve our sleep habits. First, we should establish a regular sleep schedule. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. This will help to regulate our body's natural sleep-wake cycle. Second, we should create a relaxing bedtime routine. This could include things like taking a warm bath, reading a book, or listening to calming music. Avoid screen time for at least an hour before bed, as the blue light emitted from screens can interfere with the production of melatonin, a hormone that regulates sleep. Third, we should make sure that our bedroom is dark, quiet, and cool. These conditions are optimal for sleep. Fourth, we should avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed. Both substances can interfere with the sleep cycle and reduce the quality of sleep. Fifth, we should get some exercise, but not too close to bedtime. Exercise can help to promote good sleep, but it should be finished at least 3 hours before bedtime. And finally, we should see a doctor if we have trouble sleeping. There may be an underlying medical condition that is interfering with our sleep. When we prioritize sleep, we are investing in our overall health and well-being. We are giving our bodies the time they need to repair and rejuvenate. When we are well rested, we are better able to handle stress, think more clearly, and make better decisions. We are also more likely to be positive, productive, and successful in achieving our goals. I understand that it can be difficult to prioritize sleep when we have so many other demands on our time. However, I believe that it is possible if we really make an effort. It is important to remember that sleep is not a luxury. It is a necessity. We cannot function properly without it. In today's society, there is a lot of pressure to be productive and successful. We are constantly striving to achieve more, whether it is in our personal lives or professional lives. This pressure can make us feel like we don't have time for sleep. However, we must remember that sleep is essential to our well-being. We cannot function properly without it. There are several things that we can do to prioritize sleep. First, we should make a conscious effort to get enough sleep. This means setting aside time for sleep and protecting that time from distractions. We should also make sure that our sleep environment is conducive to sleep. This means making sure that our room is dark, quiet, and cool. We should also avoid using screens before bed, as the blue light emitted from screens can interfere with the production of melatonin, a hormone that regulates sleep. Prioritizing sleep can have several benefits. First, it can help us to be more productive. When we are well rested, we are better able to focus and accomplish tasks. Second, it can help us to be more creative. When we sleep, our brains are able to make new connections between ideas, and this can lead to new insights and ideas. Third, it can help us to be more positive. When we are well rested, we are more likely to have a positive attitude and outlook on life. Fourth, it can help us to be more successful. When we are well rested, we are better able to make decisions, solve problems, and take advantage of opportunities. And finally, it can help us to live longer. Studies have shown that people who get enough sleep live longer than people who do not get enough sleep. I know that it can be difficult to prioritize sleep, but I believe that it is possible if we really try. It is important to remember that sleep is not a luxury. It is a necessity. We cannot function properly without it. When we prioritize sleep, we are investing in our overall health and well-being. We are giving our bodies the time they need to repair and rejuvenate. When we are well rested, we are better able to handle stress, think more clearly, and make better decisions. We are also more likely to be positive, productive, and successful in achieving our goals. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. Keep your room dark and cool. Turn off screens an hour before bed, and try a soothing routine like herbal tea or gentle stretching. Think of sleep as your brain's nightly housekeeping service. Without it, toxins build up and increase your 7. Watch your blood sugar. Even if you're not diabetic, high blood sugar quietly damages your arteries, making clots more likely. But you don't have to be diabetic to be at risk. And quite frankly, they're not going to find out until they get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Now, what is prediabetes? Well, your blood sugars are higher than normal, but not high enough to be considered a diabetic. That's the first point. The second point is that most people that are pre-diabetic or have insulin resistance will never know it because there are no symptoms. So you could have insulin resistance and not even know it. Alright, the second reason is because blood sugars affect everything in your body. Okay, I mean everything. So even though you may not have blood sugar problems right now, watching your blood sugars helps you to understand how the food that you eat affects your energy level, your mood, how hungry you are, your ability to lose weight, your brain function, your memory, your ability to focus, your skin, your hair, your sleep, your libido, your emotions, your digestion, constipation, diarrhea, your risk for getting any disease. It literally affects everything in your body. And I want to share with you a little bit more about that. But before I do, let me just mention that if you're benefiting from any of my content, I would really appreciate you sharing your success story. So click the link down below where you can upload your success story so you can help inspire others. Alright, so habit number 7. Let's dive into it. We're going to talk about 3 points. No 1. I'm going to tell you what happens when your blood sugars are too high. No 2. I'm going to tell you what happens when your blood sugars are too low. And no 3. I'm going to share with you a very simple way to check your blood sugars at home. So let's first talk about what happens when your blood sugars are too high. When your blood sugars are chronically elevated, and by the way, this is the same as having chronically elevated insulin levels, because insulin is the hormone that controls blood sugar. So these two things go hand in hand. So when your insulin is too high or your blood sugars are too high, what happens? Well, you get more inflammation. Insulin and blood sugar imbalances are behind 90% of all chronic diseases, including cancer. You also get fat that gets deposited inside of your organs, which creates a situation where your organs become damaged. For example, your liver becomes damaged. You get fatty liver. The pancreas becomes damaged. It can no longer produce insulin effectively. Your heart and vessels become clogged up with plaque. Your kidneys become damaged and you develop kidney disease. Your eyes become damaged and you develop problems with your retina. The blood sugars and the insulin starts to break down your bones and your joints and you develop osteoarthritis. And then another symptom is hyperglycemia, which is a situation where you're extremely thirsty. You're constantly thirsty. Why? Because your blood sugars are high. The water follows the sugar, so you're going to be constantly trying to quench your thirst. Another symptom is polyuria, which means you're going to be urinating a lot, because again, the water follows the sugar, so you're going to be excreting a lot of sugar through your urine. Another thing that happens is you develop an altered immune system. Your white blood cells stop working, so your immune system stops working properly. So you become more susceptible to getting infections, viruses, bacteria, parasites and fungus. Another symptom is neuropathies. Your nerves get damaged and you can develop numbness, tingling in your feet and hands. And eventually this can lead to losing the toes, the lower leg, and sometimes even going into a diabetic coma. Now the other side of the coin is what happens when your blood sugars are too low. And this is called hypoglycemia. Hypo means low, glycemia means sugar. So when your blood sugars are too low, the opposite things happen. You feel weak, you're tired, you have no energy, you're irritable, you get shaky, you get anxious, dizzy, lightheaded, you start sweating, and you're hungry. Alright, now let's talk about the solution. How do you check your blood sugar? Well, it's very simple. You simply prick your finger. Oh, you can buy lancets, and these are very fine needles that you prick the side of your finger and you put a little tiny drop of blood on this little strip like this. This is the test strip and you put it into a device called a glucometer. And this is a glucometer. I'll show you right here. Let me show you. You just put the strip in like this. You turn it on. You put the drop of blood in and in less than a second it will tell you what your blood sugars are. And this is extremely important because now you can relate how certain foods affect your blood sugars. For example, let's say you prick your finger and your blood sugars are 120. Then you eat a meal and let's say 15 minutes after you eat the meal, you prick your finger again and your blood sugars are 80. Do you see what just happened? Your blood sugars went down 40 points. What does that tell you? That tells you that the food that you ate caused your blood sugars to drop 40 points. Now, is that good or bad? Well, that depends on where you started and where you ended. In this case, if you started at 120 and you ended at 80, that's good. That's a healthy drop. But let's say you started at 80 and you dropped to 40. That's not good. That's a problem because you've gone too far. So it's really important that you understand the range of where your blood sugars should be. And I'm going to put a link down below so you can learn exactly what the normal ranges are for your blood sugars. The next point is that I want to emphasize the importance of checking your blood sugars before and after eating certain foods so you can learn how different foods affect your blood sugars. Did you know, for example, that eating a carbohydrate, even though it's a healthy carbohydrate like a fruit or a vegetable, will raise your blood sugars much more than eating a healthy fat like omega-3 fatty acids or a healthy protein like lean meats, for example chicken or fish, or even plant proteins like beans, for example. So you need to understand how different foods affect your blood sugars. And this is very powerful information because you can use this information to control your health. For example, let's say you have a pre-diabetic situation. You don't know it. You check your blood sugars and let's say you notice that every time you eat carbohydrates, your blood sugars swing way up. What do? You cut the carbs and you start eating healthy fats and you start eating more protein and you notice that your blood sugars stay nice and steady. They don't go up, they don't go down, they stay in a very healthy range. Now what you've done is you've given your body a chance to heal. And this is the beautiful part about this. As you keep your blood sugars in a healthy range, what happens? All the damage that was occurring in the organs starts to reverse. So your heart starts to heal, your liver starts to heal, your pancreas starts to heal, your kidneys start to heal, your joints start to heal, and you may even start to lose weight, because this entire process actually causes you to lose weight. Now, it's very important that you understand that you don't want to be obsessing about this. You don't want to be constantly checking your blood sugars, driving yourself crazy. What I recommend is that you check your blood sugars at least once a week, so you can get a baseline, and then maybe once every 3 months. If you're doing intermittent fasting, you can probably check your blood sugars once every 6 months, because you're really not going to be eating a lot. And so hopefully you can see how important it is to understand how different foods affect your blood sugars. Cut down on processed carbs and sugary drinks. Instead, go for whole grains, fresh fruit, and proteins. A bowl of oatmeal with berries is better brain fuel than white bread with jam. If you haven't checked your blood sugar in a while, ask your doctor. It's a simple test that could prevent a lifetime of disability. Habit 8. Stay socially connected. Loneliness is a risk factor. This one might surprise you. Loneliness and isolation actually raise stroke risk. Why? Because being disconnected increases stress, depression, and unhealthy habits. Loneliness is a risk factor for developing social anxiety. Social anxiety is an extension of our primitive fight-or-flight response to danger. And if you think about it, being alone or isolated was dangerous for our survival. We needed people for protection, food gathering, and raising our offspring. So it's hardwired into us that we need people. When we're cut off from people, we don't feel safe, and that activates our anxiety and can even trigger panic attacks. With social anxiety, we worry about being judged or humiliated or rejected or criticized by other people, and that makes us want to withdraw and isolate. But that very isolation that we're withdrawing into causes more anxiety. It's like a vicious cycle. The more we're alone, the more anxious we get, and then the more anxious we get, the more we want to be alone. But that doesn't work. We need to break that cycle. So what do? I'm going to give you 5 tips for staying connected when you have social anxiety. Number 1. Don't use social anxiety as an excuse to be alone. You can't let your fear of rejection or criticism keep you from connecting with people. You have to work through that fear. Now, I'm not saying you have to become a social butterfly and go out every night and meet new people. If you're an introvert, that might be too overwhelming. Start small. Reach out to someone you know, maybe a family member or a neighbor. Make plans to get together, but make sure you have a backup plan. Your backup plan could be to have a quick escape route in case you start feeling overwhelmed. Or you can tell the person you are going to meet that you're reworking on a social anxiety issue and you may need to take a break and leave early. Then, once you get there, if you're having a good time and you're feeling up to it, cancel your escape plan and stay longer. Number 2. Find opportunities to connect in low-pressure situations. It's easier to connect with people when there's not a lot of pressure. You're more likely to feel relaxed, and you and have the added anxiety of worrying about what to say or do. Take advantage of everyday opportunities to chat with people like the barista at your coffee shop, the clerk at the grocery store, or the teller at the bank. You can also join groups with common interests where it's easy to engage in conversations. Some examples are book clubs, hiking groups, sports teams, crafting groups, and volunteering organizations. Joining a group gives you a built-in social support system. No. 3. Don't neglect existing relationships. Don't let your social anxiety interfere with your current friendships. Stay in touch with friends and family. Call, text, or email them. Make plans to see them on a regular basis. If you're worried about how to initiate the conversation when you get together, bring some topics with you. Print out a list of questions you can ask them, or bring up current events or funny stories that you can share. No. Take baby steps toward your goals. If you want to meet new people or reconnect with old friends, set small goals for yourself. Instead of thinking, I'm going to go up to that group of people and introduce myself, which can be very intimidating, you could start by just observing. Get comfortable in the space. Go to the place where people are gathering and just sit among them. Read a book or listen to music. This gives you a chance to get used to seeing people without the pressure of having to interact with them. Then, once you're comfortable, start interacting. Smile at people. Make eye contact. Ask them questions about what they're doing there. Pretty soon you'll start feeling more comfortable and confident. And no. 5. Accept that some people won't like you. That's okay. You can't please everyone. Not everyone is going to be a good fit for you. Not every relationship is meant to develop into a deep friendship. Some people are just in your life for a season, and that's fine. You can't let the fear of rejection stop you from forming the connections that will fulfill your social needs. The bottom line is that you have to make an effort to stay connected. It's not easy when you have social anxiety. It takes courage to put yourself out there. Call a friend, join a walking group, volunteer at a community center. Even short daily conversations keep your brain engaged and your stress down. Your heart and your brain both thrive on connection. Habit 9. Know the fast warning signs and act immediately. Even with all these habits, it's vital to know the warning signs of a stroke. Remember the word fast. F. Face drooping. A. Arm weakness. S. Speech difficulty. T. Time to call emergency services. We're also going to share with you what you need to do if you or someone you know is experiencing these symptoms. A stroke happens when there is a disruption of blood flow to part of the brain, either because a blood vessel supplying the brain gets blocked, or in some cases a blood vessel in the brain actually ruptures. Now, this can cause permanent damage to the brain tissue if treatment is not provided quickly. That's why it's important for you to know the fast warning signs of a stroke, and what you need to do if you notice these signs in yourself or in someone else. So the F in fast stands for face drooping. This means that one side of the face may start drooping, or you may even feel a weakness on one side of your face. The A stands for arm weakness. So you may notice that you're having some weakness or numbness on one side of your body. When this happens, it's usually on the same side on both the face and the arm or the leg. The S stands for speech problems. So this could be slurred speech, or difficulty speaking, or even understanding speech. And the T stands for time to call 911. If you or someone you are with is experiencing any of these symptoms, even if the symptoms are mild, it is important to seek medical attention immediately. Even if the symptoms go away, it's still important to seek medical attention. Other warning signs of a stroke may include sudden confusion, trouble seeing in one or both eyes, dizziness, loss of balance, difficulty walking, severe headache with no obvious cause. And if you experience any of these symptoms, it's also important to seek medical attention right away. Now, it's important to note that not everyone will experience all of these symptoms. You may only experience one or two of them, and sometimes the symptoms can be very subtle, and you may not even notice them. That's why it's important to be aware of these symptoms and to seek medical attention if you notice anything unusual. Now let's talk about what you should do if you or someone you're with is experiencing a stroke. First, it's important to remember the acronym FAST to help you remember the main symptoms of stroke. If you notice that someone is experiencing any of these symptoms, then call 911 right away. Even if the symptoms go away, it's still important to seek medical attention. Don't try to drive yourself to the hospital. Just call 911 and get help. While waiting for emergency medical services to arrive, you want to do 3 things. Know if the person is conscious, talk to them in a calm voice, and tell them that help is on the way. Number 2. Note the time when the symptoms first appeared. This information will be important for the medical team to know when they arrive. And number 3. If the person loses consciousness, gently roll them onto their side to keep their airway open. But if they are having seizures, do not put them in this position because you could injure them further. Instead, place a pillow under their head and protect their head and face with soft objects like a folded towel or a soft cloth. Also, if they are having difficulty breathing, you may need to perform first aid for choking. Now, in some cases, a person may recover from a stroke without any intervention. However, most people will need some type of medical intervention. The sooner they receive this intervention, the better the chances are for a full recovery. In some cases, the symptoms of a stroke can be reversed if treatment is provided quickly. This is why it's so important to know the fast warning signs of stroke and to act quickly. If you notice these signs in yourself or in someone else, every second counts. Quick action can mean the difference between a full recovery and permanent disability. So there you have it, 9 simple habits that could save your brain and protect your independence. Which of these will you start today? If this video gave you value, hit that subscribe button and join our growing family of health-conscious seniors. And don't stop here, your brain deserves even more protection. Now, I'd love to hear from you. If you had to choose just one habit from today's list to focus on this week, which would it be? Let's share in the comments and inspire each other to stay strong, sharp, and stroke-free.